Well, folks, the state of Northern Ireland politics really is in a bit of a mess at the minute, and shocking to say the least. After the revelation of Jeffrey Donaldson and his wife being arrested for historic sex offences, I'm going to take you through the astrological configurations, what's been going on in his chart, and what has caused this build-up and why it's coming to a crescendo right now as we speak on the build-up towards the eclipse in a couple of days. In a few days, sorry, on the 8th of April. So let's have a look and see what has been going on recently. So Jeffrey Donaldson, born 7th of December 1962 in Kilkeel, Northern Ireland. We don't know his exact time of birth. I asked him for it a couple of years ago when I was doing my final project for my diploma, and he actually replied personally and said he didn't know. So we're using the time of 12 midday, 12 p.m. as his to do his birth chart and assess what's going on from there. So he is an esteemed member of Parliament and quite highly respected individual as well. He is actually a member of the Privy Council, who are a group of people who advise the king. So that's quite an esteemed position to hold. He also has a knighthood, and he also has the title of Right Honourable, which I'm sure if he is found guilty, that will all be stripped. But we'll see how it ends up after his court proceedings and what decisions are come to at that. So he's an ex-British soldier. He is an esteemed member of the Orange Order and also leader of the DUP party. And he resigned from his post in the DUP, and he has been suspended from the Orange Order. He was arrested on the 28th of March at approximately 6 a.m. So we're going to look at the chart for that. Also, the upcoming court date, 24th of April, we're going to look at that. We're also going to compare the charts to the Northern Ireland chart and his natal chart as well. He was arrested along with his wife. So apparently she is being accused of aiding and abetting. And it's a historic sex abuse in relation to his daughters. So this has left a complete family in ruins that shocked, Northern Ireland. But not only that, his family and the victims, his daughters. And then who else? Is there any other victims as well? The police investigation has been going on since January. So they must have some kind of evidence, or they probably would not have arrested him and taken him to a crime suite for interrogation or interviews or whatever they call it. So yeah, we need to think of the victims, because this has obviously it's been going on. Well, it's historic. We don't know when it happened, but things like this, sexual abuse, leaves a mark on people's lives, and we really are victims of this. So we need to consider that as well. So the main chart themes, he has Sun conjunct Mercury in part of a grand fire trine. And it also includes the moon and the Mars, all in fire signs. So this energy is it's very intuitive, can be very creative, very clever, and very active, because it's fire energy. It needs to be burned off. It needs to be used up. But with the Sun and Sagittarius here in conjunction with Mercury, it looks like Jeffrey has developed this kind of untouchable kind of theme going on, personal attitude, and possibly superiority as well, like he can't be touched and he's above the law and better than all the rest. So we also have his Venus conjunction with Neptune in Scorpio. This is where the deep secrets of a sexual nature are. And that's what Scorpio is. It's deep secrets, deep stuff that's hidden from plain sight, hidden from view of everyone else. And Neptune aspect there as well. This is where he has created an illusion. And so he's created the illusion of living an absolute charmed life and like the perfect person, you know, well educated, highly respected in society. But what has been going on underneath? He certainly is a master of creating that kind of illusion. But it's obviously caught up with him now because these secrets are being exposed. And we're going to look at what the configurations in the current state of events in the skies have transited and affected his chart personally. So he also has a Jupiter-Chiron conjunction in his chart, and it's opposite the planet Uranus. So this as well, Jupiter is huge and expansive. Opposite Uranus as well, this can have a real, like Uranus is the planet associated with genius. Jupiter is like further education, bettering yourself, and becoming like larger than life, so to speak. The Uranus can certainly signify sudden shocks or sudden changes in one's life course. But also the exposure, it's sudden exposure, which has just exploded on the news scene and taken everything by storm, literally. So his moon in Aries is an absolute crucial point in this. I'd done a video recently. I uploaded it there a few days ago. You might want to check that out on the moon and the importance of the personal moon in the horoscope. And this is crucial for this situation because it's actually his moon that is being activated by the upcoming eclipse. And we're going to look at that as well, not only how it affects him, but how it affects the whole of Northern Ireland as well. So we are in eclipse season. This solar eclipse is in Aries and it's ruled by Mars, the god of war. So it's all about going forward with conviction, setting out on a path to actually do something. Mars does not hang about. Mars gets stuff done. And this sign as well, it's a cardinal sign along with its opposition Libra. So, and this means action. Things happen whenever there are eclipses, especially eclipses are intense anyhow, and they can signify major changes in life. So this one being ruled by Mars, things are going to happen, and they have, as we can see. So these are the highlighted planets and themes in his chart. Here we have the Grand Trine, his Sun and Mercury, trined with Mars and Leo, also trined with Moon in Aries. Okay. Down here we have his Jupiter-Chiron conjunction in opposition to the planet Uranus. And here we have the Neptune-Venus. I'm hoping you can see my cursor there. Neptune-Venus conjunction there in Scorpio. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. These are the transits that occurred on the day of his arrest. So over here we have the moon. Now this is where the moon was transiting in the sky at the particular time. It was transiting through the sign of Scorpio, and it was activating this placement in his chart, which is his Venus and Neptune. So this is bringing all those deep secrets up into the light. And it happened just in the early hours of the morning. He was arrested. So this line here is the horizon line. So everything below the horizon line is darkness. Everything above the horizon line is light. So these secrets are being brought into light as we can see here, the moon just above the horizon, bringing all these deep secrets out. So Mars has been transiting his Jupiter here as well. So Mars at the bottom of the chart is Jupiter right here. So that has been Mars, as I said earlier, is the ruler of the eclipse. It's activating this oppositional aspect in his chart. So it's exposing all this stuff. We also have Pluto currently transiting his south node. The nodes can be seen as karmic. So what you have done, what ill deeds you have done in the past, you will pay for them through karmic consequences. And with his also being ruled by Saturn as well, Saturn is typically seen in some fields of astrology as the lord of karma. So you will get your just desserts, you will get what you're owed for anything. So if you do good, if you have done good things, you'll receive rewards. Or if you have done good, bad, or evil things, or harmed anyone in such a way, or done wrong, you will receive your karmic punishment, so to speak. So Pluto is highlighting this. Pluto is highlighting here, and it's the symbol of transformation on his south node. So he really is, he could be saying goodbye to his life as he knows it in public view, public life, and he may end up in prison. So Saturn is also, yet now the Saturn transit here in the sky is also making an aspect, a trine aspect to his Venus and Neptune. And this trine aspect is suggesting the speed of how it all came around and the speed of which the news was unfolded. Okay. Saturn is also his time lord for the year. So we're using solar charts here. We don't have his actual time of birth to give him an exact ascendant degree or as an ascendant sign. So we're using solar houses, and his age, using annual perfections, his age of 61 years old, he's in his second house ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is a highly significant planet for him this particular year. And as I said earlier, Saturn can be typically the lord of karma. So he is now having to pay back. So Saturn is also transiting in opposition to his natal Pluto. So that's a double whammy kind of transit. Pluto is transiting his south node, and Saturn, lord of karma, his time lord for the year, in opposition to his natal Pluto placement. So these are quite major significant transits going on, with a lot of big players triggering his chart. Also, his personal Mars is being triggered as well by the upcoming Jupiter and Uranus conjunction in Taurus. And this is brewing. This is really deep. It's brewing big. So that's going to be exact actually later on when he enters court. But this aspect also suggests the volatility, because Uranus can be sudden, shocking events that occur that must be dealt with. And Mars as well as action. Things have to happen when there's a Mars transit, okay, or when it's on Mars, when your Mars is being affected by a transit. Some kind of energy release must occur, especially with the type of aspect it is. It's a square aspect, which also causes a great degree of build-up and tension, okay? So let's move on. The solar eclipse, as I mentioned earlier, 19 degrees of Aries, that's on the 8th of April, and that's right on his moon in Aries there, okay? And we don't have an exact degree of his moon because of the birth time, but at 12 midday, it's going to be bang on 22 degrees of Aries there. If he was born 2 to 4 hours earlier, 6 hours earlier even, it could be on the eclipse would be on the exact degree of the moon, okay? But we're using the time of midday, but his moon is being activated and activates the grand fire trine, okay, which also takes in his sun and his Mars. So this is when he is actually due in court. As we can see, the moon returns again to Scorpio. And again, it's bringing this darkness into the light, exposing these deep secrets. We have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is becoming almost exact, and it's an exact square. It's just past exact. It's just past the exact conjunction, but it's still an exact square to his natal Mars in Leo. So that's all activated here again. We also have transiting Venus conjunct his moon, 22 Aries. So Venus can sometimes be seen as a blessing in the chart, but in this situation, his natal Venus is in Scorpio. So this may be suggesting, what kind of evidence is there? Is there any evidence actually there? If there's no evidence, he may get away with this. But the fact that his Venus in Neptune has been harboring all these deep secrets, it looks like it's going to be exposed at this court hearing, perhaps bringing balance, bringing justice to the victims who have been in silence for so long. Okay. And the Venus as well represents court as well, because it's about a balancing of injustices, so to speak. So this, I've also compared this information to the chart of Northern Ireland. And the Northern Ireland chart, the midheaven is at 21 Libra, ruled by Venus. And the IC, the lower heaven, the deepest, darkest part of the chart, the foundation that everything is built upon, is at 21 Aries. Jeffrey's moon is at 22 Aries, and the eclipse is at 19 Aries. So here we have this huge build-up of energy with all these transits that he's been having, and coming to a crescendo with the solar eclipse building up to change his life dramatically. And it's so intense, it's all just kicked off. It's exploded into the news scene, exploded into the media, and sent shockwaves around. I'm sure everyone in the country knows about this by now and has has felt some kind of shock or disbelief that this has actually occurred. So it certainly is the biggest news story of the year, the biggest revelation in Northern Ireland politics, and this will not be forgotten in a hurry. And yeah, this whole thing lining up is so significant of the eclipse and the energies around. So this summarized the whole thing. So he's going to court. So he's still innocent until proven guilty. But that will be depending on the evidence. And apparently the police have been investigating since January of this year, so they must have gathered some significant evidence to go ahead and arrest him. And if he is innocent, if he is proved innocent, will he ever recover? That politically, probably not. It's doubtful. We must think of the victims as well. If it's his daughters, and if anyone else has been a victim of this, they do deserve justice. And a reminder as well, eclipse season, these are life-changing times, like for Jeffrey and his wife, also for his daughters. This is a pivotal moment. And it's the power of the eclipse. When all these energies are so intense, there must be some kind of release and change. I cannot find his wife's date of birth or his daughter's date of births either. If I did have, I would be able to tie them all up and see what kinds of transit they're all having as well. And it would be very interesting to do. But without the information, I can't do too much without that. So date of birth, if anyone knows it, they could pass it on to me. Thank you. So a reminder as well, there's no escape. Your karmic payback is coming, and no one escapes the zodiac because we're all having transits all the time. If you're due karma, the transits will line up and you will get what you're owed. So, which reminds me of the single most important universal law is to do no harm. So if you do no harm, then you will not have to pay the karmic consequences later on. But if you do good, you will pay the karmic consequences in rewards to come. Okay, so it makes sense. Simple. Do no harm to another human or animal or anyone. So if you found this information helpful or informative, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you can also go and check out the video I done on the moon. Very interesting, because this is Jeffrey's moon that's being activated by the eclipse, and it's triggered off all the other transits that are in his chart. So you can check that out. Yeah, please like and subscribe, and I'm sure there will be more to cover on this at a future date. So this is Easter Sunday. I wish you all a very happy, pleasant Easter. It's such a lovely day. I think I'm going to go out and have a cycle in the countryside. So I needed to share this because it was so significant of the current eclipse and the current state of Northern Ireland politics. So I hope it's of benefit to someone. Thank you. Bye.